Hi guys and welcome to Thoughtscapes. Now let me ask you a question. Are you ready for a story time? Because I think you are. Now this was another highly requested video. I put a post out there on Instagram asking you guys if you want to know about my breakup story and what I learned from my breakup. And again, you guys smashed it. I think I said 350 likes. I got more than that. So here I am. I've been putting off trying to do this video because it's like facing a mirror. It's not the most easiest thing to talk about, going through a breakup, but I hope that it's going to be useful for you guys out there who are going through a breakup right now, thinking about breaking up with someone. I've been there and it is not easy, and I wish I knew some of the things that I know now. That's why I feel the need to impart it to you guys, and because you guys requested it. So here are the things that I did and what I learned. Now I know this sounds dramatic, but when I came out of my long-term relationship, I thought the whole world was collapsing around me, that I was dying inside, that I had never felt this amount of sadness and grief before, that I thought the world was caving in on me. So here is what happened. I was in a long-term relationship for several years, and I naturally thought that it was going to head in the direction that you think it's going to head when you get comfortable and when you start seeing futures with each other and talking about futures and so on and so forth. No, it didn't pan out like that. I got cheated on. I found out through social media. I saw my ex in an Instagram post, and the person that my ex was with was not me. And yeah, I caught you. I caught my ex. And I also went on to find out that my ex had been cheating on me for a while, several months. First thing I felt was just rage. You're just no good, this and that, I can't believe it, I betrayed my trust, all of that stuff that you feel when your heart gets broken. I called up my ex, called my ex out, I said I was ending the relationship because I already had suspicions, really, but I didn't have any proof. There was just an inkling inside me. I don't want to call it women's intuition because I'm sure guys have intuition themselves, but you have an intuition and you know. But I could never pin down my ex. I never had any proof until, bam, right there on my phone I saw, not me tagged, not me kissing up on you, not me hugging up on you. Anyway, I ended the relationship because I knew if I let it continue, my ex was gonna do it again. But the pain that you feel when you end things, when you just put that final stamp on things and you just let it all go, and you know that you've been betrayed in such a way. So it wasn't like a breakdown of the relationship because you had grown apart. It was a betrayal of trust. And the pain that I felt, guys, I had never felt that type of pain before. They misuse you and taken you for granted. And what's worse is that they didn't even have the decency or the respect enough to nip it in the bud and end the relationship before their eyes started to wander. They let their eyes wander and they kept you on that string, just, you know, still there, because my ex was selfish. My ex wanted the best of both worlds, wanted to come home to me but also have, you know, a little bit of fun over there. And my advice for anyone who is in that situation of being cheated on: save your dignity and leave. Girl, guy, whoever you are, save it and go. Don't let that person step on your heart again. And if they have cheated once, the likelihood is if they were given a chance, they would cheat again. Now that period of my life was so dark. I had never felt that kind of pain before. And I remember when I was younger, before I even really got into any serious relationships, I was so naive in the fact that I said to myself, oh, I wish I could experience the pain of heartbreak one day, because that means that I would have loved someone so much that they had the ability to break my heart. You stupid. You are stupid, girl, to even say that, to even want to go through a breakup. You don't know until you've experienced a breakup what it actually feels like, and it feels like hell. And I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. I think literally the name says it all. Heartbreak. It really feels like your heart is breaking, and in my case it felt like my heart was shattered into 100 pieces. I cried consistently, every day for a month. I would cry going to work, I would cry at work, I would cry in my bed before I went to sleep, I would wake up and start crying. I mean, it was no bueno. And even the months after that, I might cry every other day. To the point where my best friend would call me every day and be like, "You okay? Did you cry today?" If I said, "Actually, no, I didn't cry today." Wow! It was a huge celebration. That was how severe it was. Even at work, I would be at my computer and then just the tears would start rolling down my face. And sometimes I didn't even know it, or I couldn't anticipate it. And literally within a second, I would be crying. Have to run to the toilets and just cry it out. And so you reach this point of despair where you really cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. You think that's it. You think you are stuck in this sort of heartbreak purgatory and you will remain there forever. You can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. There's no hope. There's no future. You're just stuck and consumed in your pain and your grief. So here's the thing. Here I am 2 years later after my breakup. I feel happy. I feel content. I've just started a YouTube channel, which I'm really excited about. I have a cool job. I hang out with my friends more. I give myself more me time. I'm seeing someone else. And I have goals and aspirations that I've set for myself in 2017. So for me, it's an exciting point in my life. And that just goes to show you that you do move on. Even in the depths of your despair and disappointment, you will get out of it. There is a light at the end of the tunnel and you will be able to live again and love again and be happy again. Even though when you are really at that point, you just cannot see anything besides the consuming sadness that you have within you. Remind yourself that life will move on and you will move on from it. So here's my top advice for anyone going through a heartbreak right now. Feel all the feelings. Damn, feel all the feelings. You need to recognize and accept the slew of emotions that you're going to be going through. Betrayal, sadness, anger, hurt, numbness. You're going to go through all of it. And sometimes I remember I would go through 15 emotions in one day. My emotions were up and down. And it is bloody exhausting being like that. Your body is just so tired afterwards. That's why I just cried myself to sleep and I'd have the best sleep because I would be emotionally drained. Don't ignore your feelings. Recognize them, accept them, cry as much as you need to, be as mad at the world as you need to, listen to all the heartbreak, independent women, survivor songs that you need to, but you need to let your body and your soul have an outlet for it. So feel all the feelings. And it took a few weeks for me to be able to start controlling my feelings because they were so erratic. But I did eventually. But I'm glad I let all my feelings out because I feel like there's no unfinished business there. You're purging, you're flushing all your feelings out so that you can begin again. And one of the hardest emotions that you'll go through is the feeling of loss. You will actually go through a period of mourning. And the mourning will be threefold. You will mourn for the lover that you just lost, the person that you fell in love with, the quirks that made you smile. You will lose that person. That's just the way things go. Secondly, you will mourn the relationship, your traditions, your schedule, your Sunday brunch that you always went to each and every Sunday. Those things that solidify you and forms your identity as a couple. Thirdly, you will mourn you, the person you were in that relationship. Because you're not in that relationship anymore, so that person is gone. Another thing is hurt and betrayal, which will manifest itself into anger. When anyone is overly emotional, they tend to do extreme and crazy stuff. I don't care who you are, man, woman, child, animal. You are going to react if you are being provoked in a certain way or if you're being hurt. When you're hurt and you're betrayed as a defense mechanism, you just go into rage beast mode. And so when women break up with guys and you hear stories about them slashing tires. Dude, I got to that point. I even thought about slashing tires. But I thought to myself, curb it in, rein in, you're crazy. You need to keep your dignity in that situation. And I'm saying this because in hindsight, that's something that I regret not doing. I let my dignity slip. I was so mad and enraged. I called up all my ex's friends and I was like, did you know that your friend did this and that? Did you know your friend is this kind of person, this monster? And dude, that backfired on me. Obviously, My ex's friends have their loyalties and their loyalties are not with me. So if anything, I look like that crazy psycho girlfriend. And what my ex was able to do was use my actions against me. My ex would be like, see, I told you she was crazy. It will only make you look petty and bitter about it, not the other person. The second thing I learned was you get to rediscover who you are after a heartbreak. As mentioned before, you go through a period of mourning where you lose yourself. And you kind of go through an identity crisis because you do lose a part of yourself. You question, who am I now that I'm out of this relationship? Can I stand on my own 2 feet? And sometimes if you're in a relationship long enough, it's kind of like losing an arm or losing a leg. But there's another way that you can look at things. Even though you have lost something, you have also gained so many different things. Occupy yourself. Do all the things that you never got to do when you were in the relationship, or the things that you were putting off. Do the things that make you happy. Do the things that challenge you. Just do everything. Be selfish. Go read that book that you were intending to read 3 years ago before you got with your ex. Or do that mountain hike that you've always wanted to do but your ex is just not into outdoorsy things. You need to learn who you are now, what you like, what you dislike. Because the person you were before you got into the relationship is not the same person. It's not like, you know, I was this person before the relationship and then I turned into that person and then now I'm going to go back to the original person I was before the relationship. No, you evolve and you're going to be a completely different person when you come out the other side of this relationship. So rediscover who you are. Another reason why I recommend you occupying yourself is that you could be so consumed in your heartbreak that you shut yourself off from the world. And what happens is when you become more insular, you just fester on those negative feelings. You have already been destroyed enough. Don't destroy yourself even further. Now, this is also an option, but I don't recommend it straight away because you will be feeling all sorts of feelings. But there is the saying, to get over someone, you need to get under someone else. So if you want, you can go dating, but it can turn into a very reckless affair. So my advice to you would be, if you are out there and you're dating and you're using dating as a distraction, please be honest with the people that you're dating that you are emotionally unavailable right now, that you've just come out of a relationship, because it is really bad on your part if you play mind games with other people because someone has just played games on you. Don't project that onto someone else. If you are looking for another distraction and you want to get into a relationship, I strongly advise that you don't get into another relationship unless you are completely over the heartbreak that you have just experienced and you are ready to move on. It's really unfair for you to get into another relationship but still have emotional attachments with your ex. That is not fair on the person that you're dating. And then lastly, time is a healer. Now, I know no one likes to hear that, and I certainly didn't like to hear that, but that was the single most consistent piece of advice that I got from everyone and their mama. Time is a healer. It's gonna take time, unfortunately, but it's true. You will get over your heartbreak in time. And although you don't know what the timeline is, because it will take you however long it takes you, and that's specific to you. For some people, they get over things really quickly. For other people, depending on circumstances, you know, you could be in a heartbreak for several months, maybe years, but it happens in its own time. But you can help yourself during that period. For me, I'd say it took me almost a year, give or take, to really get over my heartbreak, and that was a long time for me. There were good days and there were bad days, and admittedly, there are still some times where I relapse. A thought of my ex, a happy memory might crop up in my head, or something would remind me about my ex. The time I knew that I was completely over my ex was when those happy memories and feelings would crop up, but it still was never enough for me to want to go back into that relationship. So to help the passage of time, just occupy yourself, as I mentioned. Keep yourself busy and rediscover who you are and appreciate the new single you. And guys, keep hope alive. I know if you are in that position where you're going through a bad breakup right now and you're going through heartbreak, just keep telling yourself that things will get better and hope does exist. And you will get over it, and there will be things in life that will excite you so much that your heart is filled with so much happiness that you will completely forget about this moment in your life. I'm so much more of a bigger person now. And there are more things to look forward to. When you're going through a breakup and you're feeling all these feelings, just remember, you haven't lost your best shot at happiness. you've just gained it. For you guys who are going through a heartbreak right now, I feel for you. I'm standing here in solidarity with you. I know the pain. It's the worst pain that you could feel at that moment in time, and you just don't think anything can get better, but it will. Take on board my advice, do the things that I mentioned, and you will come out of it. You will see the other side. Thank you, salutations. I'm giving all the love that I can to you for you guys who are going through a really bad breakup. You'll get over it, and everyone else I'm sure will attest to in the comment section, it does get better. For those who have come out the other side, guys, encourage the people who are going through some bad things that it will get better. Let them know that it does. It's not just from me. I know there are a whole wealth of people out there who have come out the other side of a heartbreak and they're flourishing. So again, like it, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. When I came out of alone, it felt like my hat ending the relationship. The sheep? The relationship.